Uh, Under the fourth dimension series, today we have the guest session on the topic Budget 2022 Hits and Misses by Ms. Ritu Dangi. Ritu Dangi is a qualified chartered accountant and has been associated with reputed chartered accountancy firm Be Smart and Associates since 2009 as a partner. Coming with an industry experience of 12 years, she has been handling various profiles like income tax returns, audits, and project financing. She has been the lead auditor for Software Technology Park of India, Lakshmi Cooperative Bank, and has also worked as a SOX auditor with Tata Motors for a brief period of time. With profound interest in teaching, she ventured into academics and has also been serving the education industry from 2012. Currently, she is working with AISSMS Institute of Management as an assistant professor. She is also pursuing her PhD from Pune University. Ms. Ritu Dangi has been teaching various finance subjects and has published several national and international research papers in the reputed journals. Her key interests in finance are corporate governance, stock market analysis, and taxation. Having exposed to both industry and academics, her sole intention while teaching in classroom is to follow pedagogy that meets industry needs and bridges the gap between industry and academia. She is a firm believer of the saying, fall 7 times, get up 8. Welcome, ma'am, for this session. Hello.
Thank you so
Ritu,
much,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yeah, am I audible now?
You can start, ma'am. Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a kind introduction. And I'm really grateful to the founder secretary, ma'am, Dr. Shilpa Kulkarni, and director, Dr. Satish Ubale, sir, and the entire team of Matrix School of Management for giving me this opportunity to be the guest lecturer for today's session. Dear students, I'm very hopeful uh, and I wish that I will be able to do justice to your this 1 hour, and you will go from this presentation. This presentation will leave you with a lot of inputs, right? So thank you so much, and a very good morning to you all. And let's just begin. Ma'am, can I share this PPT, right? Uh, Am I the
Yes,
host?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The students, I think the PPT is visible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Yeah, fine. Thank you. So let's begin once again, and thank you, Vaishali ma'am, for your kind introduction. So students, we are here to understand the budget 2020-22 hits and misses. Instead of going for the hits and misses, of course there has to be a hit and there has to be a miss. What I have tried to do in this presentation is to make you understand that whatever announcement have been made in the budget 22, are they relevant, right? Whatever sectors, obviously announcement has been made with respect to various sectors, right? So what I have tried in my presentation is to club those sectors, and you will be able to understand whether this announcement is was necessary, and how the sector is growing, right? So you will be able to understand why this announcement of particular, whatever announcements they have made was necessary for in today's in budget 2022. So uh, before starting with budget 2022, let me first explain to you what is a budget. Okay, what is an union budget? So we will first understand what you mean by a budget, and then we will go into the nitty-gritties of budget 2022. Okay, so what is a budget? Just like you know that you are an MBA student, and you know that a company prepares at the end of the year, end of the financial year, a company prepares its financial statements, right? Agree? Yes or no? You can use the chat box, definitely. So a company prepares a financial statement. Similarly, the country, okay, our country India also prepares a profit and loss account. Okay, what do you get in a profit and loss account? What do you prepare in a profit and loss account? You note down all the incomes and you note down all the expenditures, right? This is what we do in while preparing the profits and loss for a company, right? Similarly, right, the government of India also prepares a profit and loss account, but we don't call it a profit and loss account, we call it a receipt and expenditure account. Okay, noting down all the incomes which are going to be there, incurred for the year, also the also the expenditures which are going to be there incurred by the government. Okay, so if what we will have, the incomes we will have and the expenditures we will have, right? Now this budget, this income and expenditure is actually classified into two types, right? One is revenue budget and other is capital budget. I'm pretty sure you would know what is a revenue expenditure and a capital expenditure, and a revenue receipt or a capital receipt. Nevertheless, I'll just take 2 minutes to explain it, okay? Because we know it from the perspective of management of companies, but here we are talking about the economy as a whole, okay? Indian economy, right? So what is the this revenue budget and capital budget, right? Now, when comprising of revenue budget, what will be the two expenditures and the income? The revenue and expenditure, sorry, the budget will comprise of revenue receipts and revenue expenditure. Okay, what can be an example of revenue receipt? What can be an example of revenue receipt? It can be the taxes. We are paying income tax, we are paying indirect taxes. Which type of indirect taxes are we paying right now? Which type of indirect taxes we are paying right now?
GST.
Very good. You're paying GST, right? So this GST, which the central government, the government collects, right, comes in the form of a revenue receipt for the government. Okay. What are the revenue expenditure? The revenue expenditure is the salaries which the MPs and the MLAs and the ministers are they have to give to them. The government hospitals, the government colleges which are being run by the government, right? So all these, the departments, their salaries, all these comprise of the revenue expenditure. Okay, the revenue receipts minus revenue expenditure becomes your revenue budget. Okay, it can be surplus also, it can be deficit also, right? Similarly, there will be a capital budget which will involve capital receipts and capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? Capital expenditure is the expenditure which the country is doing on infrastructure, right? They're building bridges, they're building hospitals, they're building airports, they're building highways, etc., etc. Right? All this take a longer period of time, right? That is why, and the outlay is very heavy. Okay, so that is why they are not classified into, and the use of this capital expenditure, the use of that hospital, that national highway is going to be used for a longer period of time. The consumption will not be exhausted within 1 month or 1 year, and that is why it is called a capital expenditure, right? Similarly, what will be the capital? What you mean by a capital receipt? You must be hearing a lot about disinvestment. What is disinvestment? If anybody can tell me. This word has been coined a lot of times post Modi government, disinvestment. Can anybody tell me what is a disinvestment? Okay, right. What the government is doing is right now is, there are several companies which the government owns, right? Like LIC, okay, IRCTC. They were all the companies in which the government had a major role to play, right? Government was actually having investment in that company. Now what they're doing is the government is selling it to private equities. I am very sure that you would have heard that LIC is coming with an IPO. Have you heard that? That LIC in March is going to come up with an IPO. No one has heard about LIC IPO. I'm pretty sure there would be
Yes,
at
sir.
least.
Yes.
You've heard about
Yes,
it,
ma'am.
right? So what
Yes,
is
ma'am.
it?
Yes.
What government is actually giving up their stake in LIC, and they're asking the public to subscribe. So this is a disinvestment. Now, if government sells its shares, right, what it will receive? It will receive funds, right? So that is a form of capital receipt. Apart from that, what can be the examples of capital receipt? Bonds, government bonds, right, which RBI releases on behalf of the central government. So that is the loan which the government takes from the public. Apart from that, there are loans which the government keeps on taking from the RBI, from the foreign countries. So all these are examples of capital receipts. So revenue receipts together with capital receipts, revenue expenditure and capital expenditure together, they will be posted in the profit and loss account of the country. Just imagine like that. Okay. Now, after doing this, after posting all the revenue receipts and capital receipts and the expenditures, revenue and capital, we might have what we in usual accounting term call it as profit or loss. We call it profit or loss. When we will have profit? When the receipts are more than the expenditure. When we will have loss? When the expenditures are more than the receipts, right? So in budget, we don't call it as profit or loss. What we use the terminology? We use this terminology called surplus and deficit. Okay. When we are preparing it together for revenue and budget and for the entire year, we call it as fiscal surplus or fiscal deficit. Okay. We call it fiscal surplus or we call it fiscal deficit. Fiscal means for a year, right? So, can somebody tell me whether India was in fiscal surplus or fiscal deficit for year 21? Somebody give me it can be a week short also. That's okay.
Ma'am, fiscal deficit.
Very good. So, to your knowledge students, India has been in, fiscal deficit for last 40 years. 1970s में हम कभी थोड़ा surplus में आए थे. Otherwise, we have always been in a fiscal deficit. What does that mean? That our expenditures have always been more than our receipts. Okay. What was the percentage of this deficit? It was almost close to 6.8% of our GDP. Okay, so the GDP जो भी रहेगा उसका 6.8% we were not able to meet. Okay, we were not able to generate that much of income. That the gap was close to 6.8% for the financial year 21-22. Okay, does that bother you? Does that make you tense? Don't worry. It was predicted. 6.8% is within the predicted limit of the RBI and the government of India. Okay. Now, what happens is the government, when the budget is presented, right? What the government tells you, just like the company informs you about their performance, budget is again a way of communicating that how the country has performed, what has been the incomes, what has been the major expenditures of that year, and what they propose to do in the coming years, right? So in 2002, what will be the major expenditure? What will be the major receipts? How they plan to increase the tax revenue, etc. How they propose to get those receipts? All these things, where the major expenditures would be for coming years, they all tell these things in a union budget. Okay. My question to you is, whatever changes, generally what we do is we associate budget with income tax. कि अरे income tax में changes हो जाएंगे, GST में changes हो जाएंगे, through various acts. But does this changes which comes every year, do they change the Income Tax Act or the GST Act? Do they change the GST Act or the Income Tax Act? How do they bring in these changes? How do they incorporate these changes? they incorporate these changes, my dear students, with the help by introducing a finance bill. Okay, so whatever Nirmala Sitharaman said on the budget day, right, that will not be immediately accepted and implemented. Okay, what she presented was a finance bill 2022. This will be discussed in the Lok Sabha first. Then this, after whatever changes they suggest, this bill will again be discussed in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, they will incorporate certain changes, they will suggest certain changes, the discussion will happen, then again it will be put to the Lok Sabha with the changes of Rajya Sabha, and obviously the discussions, what happened in Rajya Sabha will be discussed, and they will be said yes, no, whatever suggestions there is there, and then finally the bill will be presented to the president for his signing. Okay, once that is signed, then this finance bill will become the Finance Act of 2022. Okay, so there are no changes, right, in the Income Tax Act or the GST Act. We read Income Tax Act, we read GST Act in parallels with this Finance Act. Okay, so changes will be brought in the Finance Act, and it has to be read along with the Income Tax Act, along with the Customs Act, along with the GST Act. Okay, so I hope the budget, the how the budget is done, what is the budget, it's clear to everyone. So should we go ahead? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So 1st February 2022, our Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. Nirmala Sitharaman, she presented us with a budget. Now, this budget was a very unique budget. It was a very visionary budget, I would say. Why? Because obviously it was brought in with respect to, there was a lot of talking about growth. It was brought in when, I don't know whether the pandemic is ending or not, we will might have a new variant, but there are a lot of uncertainties which which are involved right now, right? We do not know whether tomorrow we'll be going to the college, or suddenly there will be some other variant which is very contagious, and probably will be again locked down, right? So amidst this uncertainties, right, she has presented this budget, and why this is unique, my dear student, is you all know that we are celebrating the 75th year of independence, right? It has started with 2021 and it will end in 2023, right? So in this India at 75, right? India at 75, she has presented a budget of India at 100. Okay, so this, why I'm calling this budget unique budget, dear students, is because she has told us, she has given that path of how India will be progressing in the next 25 years. Okay, so she has, that vision, that mission, that roadmap has been prepared in this budget. And that is why it is supposed to be a very unique budget. Okay, why? Because 75, we are at India at 75, we're talking about India at 100. Okay, so let us understand that how, what were the major features of this budget, right, and why it is unique. And as I said, mentioned in my earlier, in the earlier slides and before starting of the presentation, that I'm going to link, right, whatever announcement she has made, and how that sector, or how is it related to that sector, and whether that you will, at the end of the presentation, you will be able to understand the vision of that of our government of India. Okay, so this budget 2022 spoke about very first time about Gati Shakti, right? She introduced Gati Shakti to us. Then she spoke about the MSME sector, right? Then she spoke about the electric vehicles, right? Then she spoke about the education and skill industry. Then she spoke about the healthcare sector, and lastly, she went to the one of the major announcement of about cryptocurrencies. Okay, so these are the things which we will be dealing in our I'll be dealing in my presentation today. Okay, so I'll be talking about Gati Shakti, I'll be talking about the MSME sector, electric vehicles, education and skilling, healthcare, and cryptocurrency. These were the major issues. I'm not saying these were the only announcement. These were the major announcements, and these were the major takeaways, what I would like to say, from the budget. Okay, 2022. So without wasting much time, let us understand the first point of, or the focus point of the budget, which was Gati Shakti. And if you say that, there were these, I would, in my opinion, are the hits, okay, which are going, as I said, that they're going to lay the foundation of India at 100. So let us understand. So Gati Shakti, my dear students, are linked with infrastructural development. Most of you would be knowing that infrastructural development, this is what they have, linked with. So what is infrastructure, or how the infrastructure growth in India is? Okay, India is supposed to be the third largest construction market by 2022. Okay, we are going to be the third largest market for the world by 2022. Okay, why I'm saying this? Because in 2022, or by 2022, we are already in 2022 rather, so we will require 50,000 trillion rupees of infrastructure for having a sustainable development of the country. So this much amount of money is required for our infrastructure to have, to what we call it a sustainable living. To have that sustainable living, we will require 50,000 trillion rupees as of now. Okay, and that is why, dear students, we are becoming the third largest market for the world. Okay, so people may invest, people will invest in us, because there is a requirement. We need that infrastructure right now for our country. So we are a market, we are an open market for the rest of the world. Okay, now we all know that there has been a lot of schemes which have already been developed and implemented by the government of India. Okay, you must be knowing about housing for all. You must be knowing about the concept of smart cities. Pune is coming up with metro. We see every time there is some of the other roads are blocked because of the metro coming up, right, etc., etc. So we have already started, okay, working towards this infrastructure development, okay, with our own indigenous efforts. Housing for all, smart cities, metros, etc. Okay, apart from that, my dear students, 2021, the government of India has set up a bank which is known as National Bank for Finance and Infrastructural Development. Okay, now this bank is just being made or set up to fund the infrastructural projects. Okay, this bank is being set up. It was set up in 2021 itself with the budget, in the budget 21, where the main focus of this budget, of this bank, would be to fund the infrastructural projects which are going around in the country. Okay, now coming to the budget announcement of 2022, Gati Shakti. So Gati Shakti, the announcement of it was made in February 21, but the introduction and the homework that was already done by our government in October 21. So Gati Shakti has been set up in October 21 itself. Okay, what is Gati Shakti? Now let us understand. Okay, ऐसा कभी होता है क्या आप लोगों के साथ? एंड इट्स वेरी कॉमन इन पुणे. आप देखेंगे कि एक महीने में किसी ने आके ना एक रोड को लेवल कर दिया. दे विल लेवल द रोड. Okay, they will prepare the road, then nicely everything, tar and everything they will do, and within 6 months or 1 month you will again see, gadda khod rahe wapas se. Why? Because the other department, somewhere probably a gas line pipeline needs to be fitted from there. Have you seen this happening in Pune? Have you seen this happening in Pune? Does it happen in your, has it happened in your area that, you see that there is, work which is being done completed, and immediately, probably within 2, 3, 4, 5 months, again there is a digging which is happening. It happens quite a lot in my area where I stay in Kondwa. Has it happened to you? Has it happened to in your area, nearby areas?
Yes, ma'am.
You've seen this, right? Okay. Now, why does this happen? Because there is no coordination. Okay, there is no coordination among various departments. Okay, so this Gati Shakti was introduced as a digital platform which aims to bring all these, all together 16 ministries together. Okay, so there will be around 16 ministries like railways, roadways, etc., highways and gas pipeline, all these ministries, which will be brought into same platform, and they will come to know, okay, what is happening, which projects, the railways are taking, and which projects the highways are taking, where the project is going on, etc. So this miscommunication or this disorientation, okay, or this lack of coordination which is there present in current scenario among the ministries of the country, this is going to be eliminated. Okay, so an infrastructure project, my dear students, requires a lot of turnaround time. It requires a lot of time, to be very frank. It involves a lot of cost. Okay, and there are very capacities. For example, अगर पानी पहुंचाना है या railway से goods पहुंचाने हैं, okay, so there are limited capacities, okay, and the lack of coordination, lack of communication further enhances the problem. So to curb these things, the government of India announced Gati Shakti. Okay, so what this Gati Shakti actually is, it is nothing but in a digital platform, all these ministries will be linked together. Okay, so there are 3 pillars of Gati Shakti here. The first pillar of Gati Shakti is comprehension. Why? Comprehension, there will be visibility, okay, in each department about other departments' projects, right? कि भाई मुझे पता है रेलवेज क्या कर रहा है अभी, वो रोडवेज को पता है. ओके, एयरपोर्ट्स अथॉरिटीज को भी पता रहेगा कि रोडवेज के डिपार्टमेंट में क्या चल रहा है. Okay, so comprehension. So the first pillar of this Gati Shakti is comprehension. The second pillar of this Gati Shakti is prioritization. Okay, so basically, if the various departments will be able to prioritize, okay, they will be able to prioritize. Okay, if this project of railways is important, it will be important for all the other departments also. If the government says that, okay, we need to concentrate on railways, okay, so that gaps is going to be eliminated. Optimization, all the resources can be optimized and the critical gaps can be filled in. Synchronization, I need not say anything, that if that this is the project where everybody is focusing on, all the efforts will be synchronized and put towards that particular project, right? So obviously the time taken for coordination, for fulfilling or completing that project will be very less. Analytical, every data, okay, with respect to each project which all the departments are taking will be available at one place in one digital platform. So you need to just go into that site and you will be able to have all the information pertaining to all the projects. Transparency aayegi, accountability aayegi, right? And analysis will be very easy because each and every data pertaining to that project is there at that place. Okay, dynamic, you will have real satellite pictures of that project linked to that platform. Okay, so वो project अब कोई बता नहीं सकता कि ये road बन गई है, but actually में there is no road. That this is very common in India, right? But this would be a history, and actually they will be linked. The site will be linked. There will be satellite pictures which will be taken and posted in that digital platform. So I hope you are able to identify that this is, why this Gati Shakti was required at this point of time, because we need, probably what they plan to do, with this Gati Shakti, they are going to prepare the industrial corridors, defense corridors, coming up with 4G to the rural areas. Okay, they are planning to build the airports. They are planning to build a 2 lakh kilometers long national highways. Okay, we have seen how metros have developed, okay, in Pune at such a short time. And there are many more infrastructural projects which are lined up, gas pipelines. Okay, so all these major infrastructural projects would require this type of coordination, dear students. So this is a very welcome step. Second thing which I would like to highlight here is, apart from getting support from the world, or asking the foreign countries to invest for infrastructural project, the government of India has also been leveraging the private equities. Okay, Reliance Infrastructure Limited, okay, our infra, is a company which has invested heavily in Indian, supporting Indian projects for national highways, airport, etc. Another company which is quite in limelight is GMR. Okay, so there are a lot of companies, private Indian equities, which the government, asking them to come forward and support and build the India of our future. Okay, so I hope Gati Shakti is clear to you. Should we move ahead? Should we move ahead? The second is MSCB sector. Okay, why there has been so much talk about MSCB even during the pandemic? Okay, I think we all know about the 20,000 crore relief measures, right, which were given to the MSCB, and they were saying, this sector is going to die if not being given a support, right, at the time of pandemic. So why this sector is so important? So let us understand this. First of all, India is the second largest MSCB sector next to China. China has the biggest MSCB sector. India is next to China. Do you know that there are only 20 countries in the world who have MSCB stock exchange? Just like NSE, BSE, right? Where the listed companies can, you can trade in listed company shares. India is one of those countries which have MSCB stock exchange. Okay, BSE emerge, BSE SME and NSE emerge are the stock exchanges for the small and medium scale enterprises in India, and they're doing pretty well. There are almost close to 500 together companies, MSCBs, listed on those stock exchange. Okay, that is not enough, my dear students. There are around 6,000 products which these MSCBs are manufacturing and providing services for. Okay, so you can imagine the scale of operations of these MSCB. 110 million people they are employing. Okay, they have at present, this is the data from 2020. I'm sure this would have increased. 110 million, so definitely it would have been a plus now. Then they're contributing close to 30% to our GDP. What is Indian GDP currently? Indian GDP is currently at 2.8 trillion. Okay, we are at $2.8 trillion. 30% of that GDP is coming from this MSCB sector, and 50% of our exports are coming from this direction, from this MSCB sector. Okay, so you cannot what we call is delimit the potential and the importance of the sector. If this sector dies, 30% of our GDP, 50% of our exports will be gone. Okay, so why this MSCB sector was important, I have told you. Let us understand what measures, what announcement, major budget announcement have been made with respect to them. Worst hit sector, that we have already discussed, so I will just leave this point. The relief, the 20,000 relief which was given by the government of India in pandemic, the extension of that relief, it was supposedly to be till 22. It has been extended till 23, especially that emergency credit of credit line for guarantee scheme, okay, ECLGS, okay, wherein they can go and get a credit loan from any bank, nationalized bank, and they can use that credit. It is similar to what we know as cash credit. So it is similar to that, and the limit of that has been extended to 5 lakh crores. Earlier it was 3 lakh crores. Now the extension, that umbrella. May I ask someone to? I think someone has unmuted themselves. If the host can mute, thank you. Right. So they have actually, what we call increase the limit from 3 lakh crores to 5 lakh crores. Okay. So this is one relief measures which one announcement which has come in support of the MSCBs. Apart from that, one of the major thing that they have done is with respect to procuring defense. Okay, defense materials will be procured majorly from the from these SMEs as well as domestic manufacturer. Okay, so 25% of the procurement of Indian defense, okay, requirement will be done through these MSCBs. Tax incentives have been extended to one more, to the one more year. There are certain tax holidays which are provided by the people and by the government of India, and the tax holidays. Okay, the tax holiday which were given to the startups have now been extended to one more year. Okay, so it was supposed to end in 22. Now it will be further will be extended till 1 year. And I'm very sure that the Indian unicorns, you know about Indian unicorns, right? Unicorns, MSCB unicorns, those companies which have now become like billion company, 10 billion jinka turnover बढ़ जाता, they are called as unicorn companies. Okay. Increased focus on digital payment and fintech for improving liquidity and MSCBs, liquidity of MSCBs. So digital payments have been made more focused, and wherever possible they have encouraged the MSCBs to go in for digital payments and fintech payments, right? Apart from that, my dear students, they have also the government has taken this initiative where the contract, okay, is between government and the MSCB. So for example, government has done any business with MSCB company. In that case, the amount, 75% of that contract amount will be given to the MSCB within 10 days of completion of that work. Okay, we know that how much time it used to take earlier, right? Ki government se paise aayenge, tab aap, then the business will start, or then the person, and there will be so many middlemen, right, which will be involved. And everybody had that issue कि भाई government से अगर transaction किया तो कब पैसे आएंगे पता ही नहीं चलता. Okay, so this is the very what we call the main problem, the main issue with respect to liquidity has been answered here, that if there is a amount due from the government to the MSCB, then 75% of that amount will be released within 10 days, and they have done that. If you go and open the MSCB magazine or site, they will show you the data, how many amount of money have been released within 10 days of the completion of work. Okay. As you know that our honorable Prime Minister has a big dream of India at 5 trillion, being a 5 trillion economy, right? So this 5 trillion economy dream, my students, MSCB sector is one of the crucial, okay, factors, crucial sector on which this 5 trillion dream is based on. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local, make in India, everything comes from this sector. So you will be able to understand. I hope I'm able to make you understand the importance of this sector. Okay, then we have the next sector, which is your automobile sector or the electric vehicle, which was again a very important announcement came, and it was very much appreciated by the automobile industry as such. So let us understand about the project, about the sector growth. There has been a growing demand for this sector, right? In this sector, you know how much the young India crave for bikes, for two-wheelers, etc. So the demand, even when as the income of middle class is rising, a car is definitely, in the list. Earlier it used to be a luxury, now it has become a necessity. Okay, so the graph of this, the demand graph of this sector is always been in plus. Okay, it is a higher slope which they are experiencing. Okay, this sector has actually received an FDI. FDI is foreign direct investment of close to $30.51 billion in last 2 decades. Okay, and they are eyeing for another $8 to $10 billion by 2023. So there is a huge potential which this sector has. Okay, now everyone knows that the focus of Indian government is with respect to electric vehicles, and the announcement has come with respect to electric vehicles only. Okay, it has not come with respect to the fuel based vehicles. Okay, why electric vehicles? Why electric vehicles? Because we are a member of UN, right? We all know that we are UN members, and UN has given us 17 sustainable goals. Okay, and one of them is to reduce the carbon emissions. Okay, so that is why we all are shifting, and you know how dangerous these oil, the emissions which happen because of petrol and diesel, how bad they are for the environment. Okay, so the focus is always with respect to electric vehicles to reduce the emissions. It is expected that the Indian market is going to be close to 50,000 crore only for electric vehicles. So there can be a demand. There can be a demand of 50,000 crore by 2025. We are talking about four-wheelers, we are talking about two-wheelers, we are talking about three-wheelers. Okay, so India's plan for electric vehicle is bottom-up approach. Okay, so bottom-up approach is two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and four-wheelers. Okay, so this is how we are going to change the way we'll be driving in coming 5 to 10 years. Okay, so there is approximately this much expected market for this electric vehicles as of now. 2025 is not very far away. 5 crore jobs can be made or can be created if we bring in electric vehicle industry. Okay, so 5 crore jobs creation is not a small amount for us. Okay, you understand that you are MBA pass out. One thing that you look out for in any company, in any college that you enter, is your placement. Okay, so creation of 5,000 crore by helping this industry would definitely be a win-win situation for the environment, for the country, for the sustainable living, for the youth of India. So that is why this sector has been given the due importance. Now, what major announcement came in electric vehicles with this budget 2022? Very, very important, which the automobile industry actually celebrated, was this adoption of battery swapping policy. What is battery swapping policy? I'm not a very good, what we call. I do drive, but not very much into this engineering of cars and everything. But I'm very sure that the basic that I've understood is that the major portion, the major part of our electric vehicle is the engine. Okay, is the engine or the battery of, sorry, not the engine, the battery of that car. Okay, so now this battery would be available for sale, okay, or available for replacement separately, and the car can be, used separately. Not in the sense, in case if there's a battery discharge, okay, a vehicle owner can get it replaced by a fully charged battery, okay, which was not earlier allowed, okay. So the battery sale will be different and car sale will be different, okay. So when you buy a car, if the battery is not working properly, okay, or if the battery has been discharged, the owner can go and get a new battery. It need not go and get a new car. The battery can be replaced very easily, okay. This is what is meant by battery swapping policy. And what this will do, this will reduce the burden of setting up charging stations, okay. Tata Motors, I am very sure that Tata Motors was given that contract of establishing or setting up charging station for EVs. So this will reduce that, okay. There will be an opportunity, a separate business opportunity which will be opened with respect to selling of batteries and charging of batteries, okay. As a matter of fact, China, right? China was able to have a faster adoption of EVs because of this battery swapping policy. And this industry has been demanding that from the government of India. And finally, the government of India gave it a green signal. And now we will also have this battery swapping policy. Then what the government has done is they have reduced the custom duty on nickel to 0%. Okay. Why nickel? I think nickel chromate, something is, some metal made of nickel is the key chemical used for manufacturing the batteries of electric vehicles. Okay. So obviously, if there is less of custom duty or no custom duty in this metal, definitely it will reduce the cost of the the car, and it will be available at affordable prices. Okay, so lowering of custom duty on nickel is again a welcome step, which the industry has also received with a positive response. Okay, apart from that, the government of India is pushing the penetration of EV in public transport. So you know that most of the buses in Pune now are going to be electrical vehicles. Okay, electric vehicles. The plan has already been supported, and it has been, it's just on the way of being. I think, I'm not very sure, but in some areas there would be electrical vehicles, public buses, which may have. Have you seen them? Have you heard about?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
you've seen, right? Electric vehicles. So majority of the public transport vehicles, now are going to be EVs only, electric vehicles only. Apart from that, they have also said that there will be a special mobility zones. Okay, so agar aap EV hai to hi aap wo lane mein enter kar sakte hain. Remember in Lakshmi Road we had this walking plaza, only no vehicles allowed. Okay, only you have to walk. So similar vehicle zones will be created where only EV vehicles, EV cars or EV scooters or EV two-wheelers, three-wheelers can move in. Okay, so this was basically with respect to the electric vehicles. Now moving on to the next important sector, which is education and training. Okay, this was again given very much importance. Why? Needless to say, the very large population, which was considered to be a bay for India, that itna population has now come to its rescue. As you know that most of our population, right, almost like 60 to 70% of our population is less than 45 years, and almost 500 million people in India are in the age group of 5 to 24 years. Okay, so there lies a huge potential for this sector, huge potential. You must be knowing that even Byju's is planning for an IPO now. Okay, and how much time has lapsed till it has come to to play in market. So you can imagine the penetration. You can imagine how this e-learning has actually loosened all the ties. We were fixed to that chalk and board method. teachers taking notes, which we are doing till 2019. And here I am today interacting with you virtually. And what next? Probably we will have a metaverse. I am very sure that you would have heard about this metaverse, which the now Facebook is called Meta, right? Why? Because we will be living our virtual self. Okay, so India is the second largest market for e-learning post or after US. Okay, and this is not what I am saying, Ritu Dange is saying. This is what KPMG has said. By the way, whatever data I'm putting in front of you have been verified by me, and I've collected them from authentic sources, government departments. Okay, nothing is from my interpretation or my understanding. So this education market is expected to reach 4 billion by 2025. You said Byju's, you say White Hat, you say Topper. You know how much business they are making right now. Okay, and there are still many areas to be still unearthed for. Okay, so we have a lot of universities and creditable universities like IITs, IIMs, BITS Pilani, Jindal Global Universities. They are being, they are ranked as among the top 500 universities of, the world. So we have the best of brain, we have the best of education system. Now we are going to encash it further. Okay, I did not say, that most of the Indians are sitting at the top-notch position in any company, be it Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, and now Mr. Agrawal has also joined the Twitter. Okay, so you understand how much, and thanks to our culture, to that matter, every Indian, okay, be it from a lower level to a higher level, everyone is at least minimum school education is what every parent wants to give. And this has been this is not something which is coming from probably this is the way we have grown. Okay, so thanks to that mentality of our parents, where they say ki, okay, padhai vadhai karna hai, lekin sorry, khelna velna hai, but padhai karna hai, minimum education to lena hi hai, right? So considering that thought and considering the age group that the population that is available right now, this is another big sector wherein huge potential lies. Okay, so we understand that we are staying in a city like Pune where connectivity is there, but in rural areas still, that they were struggling. The children there were struggling to even attend lectures. Okay, there was nothing like a smartphone. Probably they will have a smartphone. I'm not saying that the parents won't have a smartphone. They would have had a smartphone, but the connectivity, my dear student, again the infrastructure point, okay, that was very poor. And there are many cases where the rural children have missed out on learning. Okay, so to compensate that, to supplement that, to recover the loss of that period, the government of India has announced one class, one TV channel, which is it is basically a TV channel which will be giving there will be classes, and that will be there will be classes, and the training, the school children will be able to connect to that television and learn about various subjects. And very important thing, the language would be a regional language. Okay, this has already been introduced in 21, but at that time the channels were limited to 12, and now they have been actually it is close to 200 channels. Just excuse me, 200 channels will be there under this scheme of eVidya. Okay, so this scheme was introduced way back in 2020 or 20, and under those eVidya scheme, now there will be around 200 channels which will be played, which will be operating in local languages and regional languages, so that the students are able to understand it in a much better manner. Then there will be setting up of foreign universities, management, offering courses on management, finance, and science. So you may, if you want, may be able to get admission in any of these foreign universities in India post your MBA, if you want. Very important second announcement which was made was the digital university, right? They will be setting up of one single digital universities where the students will be able to, basically have access to world class education, right? Learning opportunities, and it will be at a convenient pace. You can visit at your convenient time, and you can take up the learning will be at your pace, right? Not something which is which the chalk and the board type of pedagogy restricts. Okay, so that is very, very important, that a digital university will be set up, and people, all the students, irrespective of wherever they're sitting, will be able to have access to this digital library. Again, there has been a re-importance of skill development, which our government, which our present government has been reiterating since day one. Okay, I think skill development was introduced in 2014 itself. This has been again brought into, continuation of this is there, and more programs will be initiated by ITIs, Institute of Technical, this technical colleges, where they will be giving skilling, upskilling, and reskilling um, the capabilities of the students, okay, to make them more job ready. Then we have the healthcare system, the most bruised system during pandemic, and we know that how this sector has broken. They say that the sector is broken and everything. See, what I want to say you is that the system was broken because of lack of infrastructure. Okay, because of lack of infrastructure, because we did not have that much of hospitals, that much of bed. Okay, but if you talk about this sector has been the most performing sector of Indian economy. We are giving, we are the producers and suppliers of 50% of the global demand of medicines. Okay, only medicines, 50% of the supply comes from India. जो भी डिमांड होती है, से 100 डिमांड है तो 50 उसका हम सप्लाई करते हैं. इंडियन कंपनी सप्लाई 50% ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन. ओके, this sector contributes close to 1.5% towards Indian GDP. Okay, this is only relating to manufacturing of medicines and injection and vaccines. I need not tell you how well we operated with respect to the COVID vaccine. It is just that we lack, it is the excellent example of political will in India. If there is a political will, definitely even the impossible can be achieved. You can imagine 150 crore, and I think everyone, except for those who do not want to get vaccinated themselves, 95% of the population, in fact 100% of the population has been vaccinated, which we could not even imagine. When the pandemic was set up and they said that there is going to be a vaccination, we thought at least 5 years would lapse till everybody gets vaccinated, and here we are in 2022, all vaccinated, waiting for our booster dose. India is known to be the vaccination hub of the world. 70% of the supplies of world demand for vaccination comes from India. And this, my dear friend, is pre-COVID. Post-COVID, we are the kings. This is pre-COVID vaccination hub. We were called pre-COVID, before we have started making Covaxin and Covishield. So this is the potential of pharmaceutical sectors, okay, which I've clubbed right now in healthcare. This is expected to be 8.6 US trillion. The market is expected to be 8.6 trillion US 2022. Way back in 17, it was almost close to 4 trillion. So we have doubled, more than doubled ourselves. Okay. the budget allocation for healthcare sector was 86,200.65, which was almost 16.59% up, right? So the government of India has basically understood the importance of infrastructure or healthcare facilities, and that is the reason why there has been such a higher allotment to this sector, healthcare sector, 86,200.65 crores. But I feel that could have been more increased. There would be a setting up of open platform for national digital health ecosystems. So digital repositories will be created with where health providers registration, what are health facilities are available, unique health identities will be given. We will have that unique health identity codes where you can access to any hospital. Okay, you can get access to any health facility by having that code. So that is being planned right now. And very important, how we all know that this pandemic has been very harsh, more than the obviously COVID deaths had been there, which the rate was very high, but the mental health of the people have also deteriorated. And we being a young country, the cases of depression, have been in rise alarmingly. So there has been a tele-mental health program which has been set up by the government, which will work 24/7. So if you're feeling, stressed, or there is some issues, health issues which you are experiencing, you can have a counseling session free of cost by calling these numbers. Okay, this, I think, the support system, the technical support is being given by, I think, some institute in Bangalore. I do not know, but the technical support, and it is already operating. Within 1 or 2 months it will get operated. It will start operating. So you can, in case if you know someone, because I personally know a person who has been really hit very hard, and not because of COVID, but because of the depression, the loneliness which the people have faced during this phase. The last but not the least, and the most interesting one, I think I'm on time. Okay, 5-10 minutes, right? So I have not said here the sector. I have just mentioned the issue. Okay, we all know what cryptocurrencies are. Okay, the next big thing, all your generation people are like talking about, hey, crypto, why are you investing in FDs and everything? You should invest in crypto. Okay, but, and do you know how much is the investment which Indian people do on stock, and how much they have invested in cryptos? You know how long the equities have existed? Okay, since like post independence, I do not know how long, probably 80-100 years we have been talking about the stock. Sensex has been there for 100 years now. So the portion of Indian people investing in stock is close to 4%. This 4% we have reached in pandemic. Okay, 4.27% roughly it is coming to. So, and this 4.27% is because people thought in that we should invest in stock market during the pandemic. So the increasing number and the highest number of demat accounts were opened during this whole pandemic. How much does how much Indian economy, or how many Indians have invested in crypto? Do you know that? Stock 4.27%, cryptos 7.9%. Okay, so there was an increasing rate at which the Indians were investing or are investing in cryptos more than stock. Cryptos have received investment from India. Okay, close to 105 million people are investing in cryptos. So definitely, and you know that cryptos are not backed by anything. Okay, that day I was reading a newspaper, and the RBI chief said that cryptos are not backed by any underlying asset, not even a tulip. Okay, so obviously there is a lot of risk involved, but as the financial thing goes, higher the risk, higher the return. The Indians are attracted towards the return, and that is the reason why, right, there has been a huge response, or a better response, may not be huge, but better response towards crypto than the stock market. You know what are the digital currencies? The famous, I've taken them in form of market capitalization, Bitcoins, altcoins, and Ethereums. There are some examples of digital currencies. You can go to WazirX, CoinDCX and know much about this, right? Just give me a second. Your type of generation, this Gen X is, if you see the data, your Gen X is more interested, and the HNIs are more interested in this kind of this investment. So the government thought that, and we were expecting it, we were expecting that there need to be a, some clarification, something which should come for cryptocurrencies. And people were earning like crazy. You could have seen 200% returns, 40, 200. Bitcoins have gone almost, crossed the 200% returns. So if people are earning like crazy, government will not sit. Government wants their share. So they came up with obviously they announced, very importantly, they announced that India is going to have their own digital currency. We cannot sit back, right? If everyone is there, India has to be there. That, it's a need of the hour. So obviously there will be a digital currency which will be there in 2023, which will be called a central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency, which will be issued by the RBI. We are expecting it in 2023, and the rules will be set up. The government is very clear that this investment, they don't want normal people like you and me who are into the middle group or the lower middle class, and that is why straight away they have brought in a tax rate of 30%. HNIs, you want to do it, please do it, pay 30% to us, we'll be happy, you will be happy. People like you and me, where equities are being charged at 10%, cryptocurrency is being charged at 30%, I think this can be a great demotivator, and people will shift again from cryptocurrencies to equity market. This is my reading. Again, this is my reading, and I feel that a logical person, even if I'm earning and I'm paying 30% and taking that much of risk, and by the way, the markets have corrected themselves in cryptos also. The market has corrected. The 200, the insane returns that were coming, that have now been checked or normal. So instead of having exposing myself for to that much risk and then getting taxed at 30% doesn't make a sense. So probably I think post this there will be a shift from cryptos to equity again. TDS has been introduced. Apart from that, if the person is earning, if the company, the Bitcoin company is paying you something, it has to deduct tax. Okay, or you are paying someone in the form of Bitcoin, you will have to deduct 1% TDS. Gifting of digital asset will also be taxed. So there is every transaction relating to cryptocurrencies are now brought under the ambit of taxation. So policy to आएगी, अभी ये समझ लो tax तो देना ही. Okay, so in case if you have invested in cryptos, be ready to be, and there is no threshold limit, कि इतना होगा तो ही, जैसे equity has that threshold limit, there is no threshold limit here. You earn 1%, you pay 30 paisa to him and enjoy the 70 paisa. Okay, so I think this is what I had to speak. Briefly, I will speak about the misses also. What misses, what I had personally been expecting from this budget, which I feel would have come in the form of relief to the common taxpayer, because see, pandemic has been bad for MSCB also, for the business class also, and for the salaried also. Okay, there are many who have lost their job. There are many who have suffered a pay cut. So there could have been certain, a relaxation, probably increasing the limit of ATC or giving a deduction with respect to COVID for a particular year, maybe 1 or 2 years. This I was expecting. Slab rate, I know we want a very stable tax regime. So government is very clear that it will not disturb the tax slab. But probably a special deduction with respect to ATD, some section wherein salaried people will be relaxed in, their pockets would become a bit denser with the money flowing in. So that I was expecting, but government was very stringent. Only what we received is a thank you from the government. So that was a bit disappointing. There could have been certain incentive for the new retail investors, as I mentioned earlier, that during pandemic there was a tremendous increase in the demat account being opened. Okay, many demat. If you see the percentage increase, it's quite high. Okay, so some incentive could have been given to the retail investors who, government wants people to invest in stock market, right? Because obviously if the money flows in market, it will be circulated very easily. Okay, so if that is happening, the government could have probably given us limit for dividend. You know that even today, like right from 2019, a single rupee of dividend is taxable. If you're earning 1 rupee also as dividend, it is taxable. Okay, so somewhere probably a limit, say 1 lakh tak agar aapko dividend mil raha, so it will be exempt of 50,000. So that could have, probably motivated the retail investors to invest further in the capital market. And which the third thing which I want to put is key, government has been too harsh for cryptos. A lower rate would have been more appreciable. But again, risk is involved. So I think this point I am not myself too much convinced. But yes, if 20% or 30% plus surcharge and everything is too high, 20% would have been fairer on my terms. Okay, so this is what students I had to talk about, and I hope I am on time. And in case if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, over to you, ma'am, or anyone.
Students, do you have any questions? Hello. Any questions, students?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
That means Ritu, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. There are no questions.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a
Either you have
wonderful
understood everything
session.
about it. Thank you.
Since there are no questions, that means that
They have understood
students
everything.
have understood everything, probably.
Yeah. They don't have anything to ask.
Thank you very much for putting it in a simplified way,
Thank you.
Ma'am,
which the students can
Ma'am, there is
grasp
some-
very easily, Thank you for spending your valuable time, ma'am.
मैम वैशाली मैम
Yes.
मैम स्टूडेंट्स को वीडियो चालू करने के लिए फोटो कैप्चर करें.
Yes. Students, please put on your video so that we can have photographs with ma'am. Mohit sir, just let me know. Students, also you can fill the feedback form posted in the chat box. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me. And I hope it was a good learning and valuable session for the students as well. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Surely.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Hello,
ma'am.
Ritu ma'am. Sorry.
थैंक यू मैम.
Thank you, ma'am. You can leave the session, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.